Welcome back to this week's episode of the Seatown Podcast, where Seattle business owners, entrepreneurs, and community leaders are invited on to share their stories with us. I'm your host, Christian Harris. As the owner of an indie real estate brokerage here in Seattle, I'm naturally interested in various communities around Seattle and what makes each of them so unique and distinct. And local businesses and organizations play a large part in shaping the flavor and character of the neighborhoods that we love so much. So join me as we talk with these fascinating people and explore their stories of why they started their businesses, run their nonprofits, or otherwise are making an impact in the Seattle area. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm joined by Angie Marshall and Amy Becker, the co-founders of Life Capsule Productions, do business videos and legacy films. Would you mind telling me a little bit more about that? You know, how you got started, what you actually do, like the different services you provide?
Yeah, so we formed just over a year ago, and we started with doing legacy films, which are videos for seniors and their families. They basically capture life, wisdom, memories, photos into one package, and it's a gift that your family will treasure. And then we also do business videos, and so we work with small businesses in the Seattle area, and we do about us videos, customer testimonials, and kind of like the underlying theme with everything is that we keep it really authentic, natural, genuine, not scripted, not stuffy.
Okay.
We really try and make it so it feels like you just sat down with them to coffee and that you guys are friends afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to like how you got started in that, I mean, it sounds like the kind of legacy films was the first part of that. How do you get into that? How did it kind of morph into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so kind of serendipitously it happened. I had done a very homemade legacy film for my grandmother, and it was a really cool gift to share with the family. And then I was volunteering at a retirement home in Seattle, and I was just talking to residents there and realized there was like History Channel worthy stories there.
Yeah.
Like I was like, who's capturing this?
Yeah.
Like we must do this. And so I talked to Amy about it, and she jumped right on board. She's like, we need to do this. We started as volunteers making these films, and then it just grew and it evolved. And we do them in Seattle and actually in New England, which is where Amy is, and she's the editor. She's like makes everything beautiful.
Gotcha.
She's the magician.
I try my best.
And then from there, I would go to all these networking events and meet all these people and these business owners that have really incredible products or services or stories, and that got me thinking that we can really help them share their story and really elevate them and bring in more business. And so that's how it all started.
So obviously, for you, Angie, you kind of fell into it, kind of doing this for your own family, for your grandmother. Now, Amy, what was kind of the impetus for you getting involved, and what was the draw for you?
Yeah, sure. So I actually was really interested in documentary production in college and did a few short documentaries for my capstone project, and I ended up falling into a job at a marketing agency, which I definitely learned to love, but I was still itching to kind of do that documentary style production for films and kind of have that authentic video creation. So when Angie came to me with this idea, I was like, yes, like I had been itching for years to get back into it, and so I was like, yeah, we don't have a choice to not do this. Like, this is what we're doing. So.
And we also had this kind of
flashed off from there.
Yeah, so we grew up together. We're lifelong friends, and Amy was always at my house, and we were always my grandmother, it's like her grandmother too, and my family's her family, and we were always creating, and we were actually always making video. And it was crazy that now that we're adults, we're doing it professionally. Yeah. It's just total full circle. Because we were like making music videos, making Miss America pageants, like game shows, you name it. We made a full-length feature film. We redid Clue. Do you know?
Yeah.
But we couldn't drive yet, because we were pretty young. And so whoever was over that day were the characters. So like Mrs. White was like 5 different people. She was Amy one day, and then my grandmother the next, or like my sister or whoever. Yeah. It was really good. I know that's going to come out.
And it was all on like a stop-start camcorder too, so it was Beautiful.
Yeah, the editing was
I'm sure the editing
minimal.
was very,
Yeah. We did rolling credits with like a piece of paper, and you like rolled it past the screen.
gets the job
I forgot
done.
about that.
Oh my god, it was the best. I don't know where it is, but I know my mom is gonna bring it out like
I'm sure.
at the worst time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Whew.
That's funny. Now with the various avenues of kind of the business, from the legacy films to doing business videos, I mean, what do you guys love most about what you do?
Amy, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I think that there's like a big picture love and a small picture love. This one. For the big picture, we love that, and for the business films that we do, we love that we are able to support the growth of small businesses. I feel like you always hear about the big businesses kicking mom and pop shops. So we intentionally craft these videos to kind of cut through the noise and get our clients' message out to the community that they want to reach. And then if you kind of zoom into a smaller frame, we love the relationships that we build with each of our clients. We always end up to be like their biggest fan afterwards, or like in the legacy film case, like at the end of the day, they feel like our own parents. And it's also really cool for the business films to kind of see the communities that are built from making like referrals to one another, and it kind of creates this web, cool to see form.
Yeah.
Sure. When you guys first started doing this as an actual business, what do you find to be the most surprising or unexpected aspect of starting your own business?
I was most surprised that so many other people are starting businesses too, and I would go to these events, and it was just really cool to have that sort of support system, because everyone else was going through it too. I'd go to an event where there's like a room of 100 women. It's this one networking event I go to monthly, and we all have a topic, and we talk about all these things that we're going through, and we have breakout sessions, and it's just, I didn't realize how innovative, and maybe it's just Seattle, but and I'm sure other cities too, but Seattle seems like a very innovative city, and so I don't feel like I'm alone on this journey, and like I can always find support, and so it's made it a lot easier actually starting a business.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like there's an entrepreneurial spirit to Seattle. Whether it's chalk it up to we've always been kind of on the edge since it's innovation, or since it's inception, or all the tech moving in, all the younger people. It's definitely empowering to start up and do new ideas here.
Yeah, it's a cool energy.
Yeah. Do you find there's many other businesses I guess with what you do, it's not necessarily geographically limited, but do you find there's many other businesses that kind of do what you do? And if so, how do you guys kind of set yourselves apart?
So there are definitely other businesses doing business videos, right? Those are everywhere. The legacy side, not so much. There actually aren't very many at all. And when I tell people about it, most people have never heard of something like that. So that makes it unique and special, especially in Seattle. I haven't really found others that do it.
Sure.
But yeah, the business side is.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say I think another huge thing that sets us apart is kind of how we craft our product. So first of all, like Angie mentioned earlier, they're authentic and unscripted. They're kind of like you sit down and talk with this person. And that's really kind of what our society is looking for as far as video goes right now. I feel like no one wants to sit and listen to like this scripted video that seems kind of stiff. They just want to hear what you have to say and cut through it and learn about what you're doing or what you have to say. So I feel like where the crafting part comes in is with Angie. I think one of the things that impresses me most about her, I'm going to flatter you a little bit, Angie, is she has this insane talent that you probably have too, Christian, where you interview people, but she can pull these stories out of people like it's nothing. I think it's probably a combination of her demeanor, like she just makes people feel really comfortable naturally, and then also the way she asks the questions, obviously. but I'm always left with this great footage of the most pertinent and powerful information about someone and their business, which is pretty great, and that makes my job easy. I just go through the footage and kind of pull out the gems and sew them all together to kind of make this succinct, powerful video that people can share with whoever they want. And yeah, so I think that's kind of the biggest part of what sets us apart from other people who are doing these similar things.
Sure, yeah. There's definitely something unique about someone who can kind of naturally draw the story out of someone. I don't know if I naturally have that, but I'm working on developing that craft. So.
Thank you.
It's definitely an art form.
It is, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of highlights some of each of your kind of skill sets and the pieces you work in the business. What have you found to be some of the most challenging aspects of owning and running this business?
Ooh, challenging. The whole thing? No. I think realizing that there's so many moving parts, and that when people were like, oh my gosh, it's going to take a year for you to just get off the ground and like form and all of that, and it's totally true. I was like, oh my God, no way. I'm just going to hustle through this. We're going to be up and running. We're going to have so much business in a week, and it's not true. Yeah. There's so many steps you have to go through, and you have to be kind of scrappy and resourceful, and figure it all out and talk to people and learn from others, and then keep pivoting. It's like you have one vision. It's not going to end up like that.
Right.
You have to kind of, it's a wavy path. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, edit that out. What would you say is maybe one lesson you've learned from having to overcome these obstacles as you've set up and developed the business?
So the biggest lesson I've learned is to not really take things personally, and to actually embrace negative feedback. Obviously, the positive feedback's great, and all your loved ones are going to support you regardless. So it's like,
and that feels good.
Yeah, it feels wonderful, and I'll bring it on. Like, I'll take that any day. But I really appreciate when people are really critical and really honest. And it's happened quite a few times where people just tell me how it is, and I'm like, oh, it hurts quite a lot, quite a bit. But it just happened to me last night. I was in a conversation, and I was, learning a lot, and they were really, really honest with me, and I actually really appreciate it, because that's when it catapults you to the next level. Sure. When you're able to reflect and be like, oh yeah, what we're doing could improve in so many ways, and then it kind of just pushes you.
Yep. Yeah, not fun, but it definitely gives you opportunity to grow and improve, become better.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yep. What do you say in the past was holding you back from becoming an entrepreneur and owning your own business? So did you do something similar beforehand, or is it like is this a full-time endeavor for you? Or?
Amy, do you want?
Sure. I was just having a little bit of a hard time hearing what you were saying. Were you asking about what was holding us back from becoming an entrepreneur before?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I think that it was kind of a couple things. First, the idea, because coming out of college, I actually wanted to start like a documentary production company, and I think that part of that was the idea that I had to be able to earn a full income from a starting gate, and I was afraid to tackle that. And then I also got a full-time job, and I became kind of content with full-time work at someone else's company. And then so I kind of fell into a comfort zone until Angie kind of yanked me out of that, and I've really enjoyed this adventure though.
Yeah, I didn't really know I wanted to be an entrepreneur until this happened, and then it definitely makes sense. I feel like not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm kind of like I'm kind of like a leader, I guess, in a lot of different aspects. And
you totally are. Totally are.
And it just makes sense that I want to be my own boss. Yeah. And once the idea sparked, I get really obsessed with the idea, and I run with it. Yep. And this one I kept going, I haven't slowed down. And so it just kind of happened. There was a lot of moments where I was like, okay, I like signs when you are like, okay, there's a bigger power kind of guiding me here. And one moment in particular was really powerful, and it might sound cheesy, but I was Googling, when I came up with this idea, I just Googled documentary films for seniors. That's it, into Google. I clicked the second link and opened the page, and it's my grandmother's face. She didn't own a computer, didn't know what the internet was. Nobody knew that she was in a documentary film that no one knew about. And she was the face of the documentary film back in Maine. No one knew about it. And like, there she is. Like, I just Googled the most generic thing. Yeah. And then she was like staring at me in the face. I was like, hey, Grammy, thanks for the support. Like, I think I'm going to go forward with this. And for me, that was a moment where I kind of felt like it was meant to be.
I think the cool part about that, too, is, like, with all of our projects that we used to do as kids, whether it was, like, making the neighborhood newspaper or, you know, whatever, doing that clue film, her Grammy was always a part of it and always encouraged us to continue doing our project. So it was really cool to kind of get that affirmation later on in life too.
Yeah,
sure.
For sure.
That's pretty cool. What's as you started the business and as you've received that challenging, honest feedback and whatnot, what has been some of the best advice that you've received?
Ooh, kind of goes back. Yeah, go for it.
Some really good advice. Oh, sorry, were you talking, Angie?
No, go for it.
Okay, yeah, sorry, just having audio issues. So I got a really great piece of advice from one of kind of my life mentors back when I was a waitress, actually. My boss at the time, she was just kind of giving me a kind of generic pep talk, like, you can do anything you want, like, you're so capable of anything, and she's like, just go for your dreams. And then I think the next part is what really hit me. She said, no one's going to laugh at you if you try and then fail. They'll just envy you for your confidence and even giving it a shot. So I think that really changed my perspective on just going for things in general, but especially that kind of carried on through this business venture.
Sure.
Yeah. Mine is kind of loops back to what I was already saying. Okay. So that's pretty good, but kind of listening and digesting the negative feedback. Mm-hmm. And not taking it personal, not taking other people's needs, and if they don't want your service or whatever, it's okay. Right. Like, there will be others, so kind of separating yourself from that and that emotional side throughout the process.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as we kind of wrap up here, would you say there's a personal habit or characteristic that for each of you that contributes to your success?
Oh yeah. So I think I feel like we're the dream team together. At least we work really well because Amy has like the technical side, and she's really good at attention to detail. Like, she will hone in on one like extra space you have or whatever, and I don't have that ability. I'm much more of a big thinker, and I'm always like on to the next thing, and like, what about this idea? Oh my God. And like getting so excited about the big picture, and then Amy has to like rein me in and be like, no, like focus on this one thing.
Well, no, it's super helpful. I think like we really balance each other out where, like, you come up with all the great ideas, I feel like, and then like I kind of like work on the details of it once we have the idea down. But like, I feel like without that big picture view, it would be nowhere,
Yeah, it's a good balance, I think.
Sure.
That we work well.
For sure.
Right. Well, that's great to have. I mean, especially having the self-awareness to know what your strengths are, to be able to have someone else that can contribute to the other side of things. Because I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that they're really good at what they do, but like they don't like have a business sense, or they don't realize how much more there is to owning a business than just doing the actual what people see of the business. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have, the strategy and the entrepreneur and the visionary within someone who can actually execute it in attention to detail and stuff.
Yeah.
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 A little bit of both.
Do you guys have any specific internet resource or application that you guys can't live without? Whether in your personal life or in the business, like a Evernote or whatever.
Google Drive. Google Drive all day.
Okay.
Live on
sure.
Google Drive.
Okay.
Everything we do when we were sending each other video edits and stuff, and
Sure.
just all the documentation, everything. That thing is amazing.
Okay.
Another resource that I find. Yeah, it's great. Another resource that I found was really helpful, and for other people that are trying to maybe start a business, it is a book that was like my Bible when I first started, and I don't want to get the name wrong. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, the Women's Small Business Startup Kit. I don't know why it's the women's. It doesn't really pertain just to women.
Yeah.
But it's the best resource ever. It's step by step what you need to do to start a business, like what all these things mean. There's so much lingo that is just confusing, and like, what do I do next? So that was super helpful, and I think it'd be helpful for some listeners if they're looking to do that.
Sure, I'll make sure to link to that in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick, going back to the Google Drive, what have you like? Why do you decide on that platform versus like Dropbox or something? Is there a big difference between the two and the capabilities here?
Well, I just like that you can edit, like we were editing a document together.
Okay, sure. Simultaneous
yesterday.
editing capabilities.
And then we were like making notes to each other, like.
Sure.
And it's yeah. Then it just has so many and it has so many other additional apps you can add onto it.
Sure.
And I just like that it's kind of in real time. You don't have to upload and download and re-upload it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I didn't really do too much research past that. I just happen to already have a Google Drive, so.
Sure. That's great.
I was like, new folder, Life Capsule, got it.
Now, do either of you listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
all the time.
Do you have a
Both of
favorite?
us.
Do you have like a favorite
So,
one or favorite
Does
three?
everyone that gets interviewed, do they always say yours first? Because can I put that in there for extra
You
brownie
can.
points?
I know they're mine. There's much better podcasts out there than mine. But
No,
I
it is
appreciate
amazing.
it.
I love hearing about small businesses in the area. It's so
Okay.
awesome. But I like. I listen to so many, but How I Built This is kind of inspirational, and I think it's Guy Raz that hosts that one.
I don't know. I don't listen
Sean
to
Garrett
that
on
one,
that-
but
anyway.
I've obviously heard of it. Yeah.
But then my favorite, when I want to laugh, I really like funny podcasts, and so Two Dope Queens
Okay.
is amazing.
Like
Two comedians,
I
Two
haven't
Dope
looked
Queens.
at that one yet.
Yeah, it's awesome. You should
Okay.
listen to it. Amy, what about you?
So I would say my top three. I would say the Moth Radio Hour is great to kind of fulfill your storytelling needs. I love Radio Lab because, I don't know, I just like delving into one subject.
Sure.
And they're pretty nerdy and fun. And then I always listen to Up First, which is put out by NPR, and it's just like a quick news update every morning. You can just listen to it and know what's going on.
Sure.
And that way, if you don't happen to be in the car that day to listen to the news, you got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
ditto all those.
Okay.
Those are all the best too. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. So what could you share? Could each of you share one piece of parting guidance with our listeners?
Oh, yeah. Amy, you want to start?
What was? Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Sure. I said, could each of you share one piece of parting guidance for our listeners?
Oh, sure. Okay. So yeah, I think if you I don't know. Let me restart that. I think it's helpful to just remain a lifelong learner, and don't assume that you know how to do it best. Learn from others, learn from books, do your research, and yeah, you'll get there.
It's good. Yeah, I like it.
I think one of the best things to do is to really be appreciative of the people that help you along the way. and give it back. Like they give you something, you give it back, you help them out too. You're not just out there just trying to get business for yourself, but actually there's so many helpful, supportive people that'll just like instantly lend a hand and be like, oh my gosh, let me connect you with this person or that person. And like, not just taking it, but giving it too. Yeah. Makes it so your web just gets bigger and bigger, and you build your own brand, your personal brand too, as like a really good human. And that's really helpful along the way to have those connections.
Yeah, well, and that attitude seems to be much more prevalent in the entrepreneurial world in general, especially when you're starting. And there's a lot of
it's essential.
The give and take.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what's the best way for our listeners to find out more about your business? I guess you have a website.
Yeah. Check out our website. We have a bunch of all of our videos are up there. Not the legacy ones, but our business videos. And we have little snippets of the legacy ones as well. And that's lifecapsulepro.com. And we're also on all the social media outlets. But feel free to call us. We love to chat. Okay. If you want more information or just hear more about it. Our phone number is on there as well.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for your time. Hopefully it's been entertaining for our listeners as well. But appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having us. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. That wraps up this week's episode. Make sure to check out our guest website, pay them a visit, and otherwise support what they're doing. If you have questions, know someone who should be a guest here, or has a story worth sharing, email me at christianharris@seatown.com. That's sea-town.com. I would also be honored if you could go to iTunes and leave us a review and a nice 5-star rating. We work hard to bring on great guests and provide exceptional content. And getting a review from you is one way to help the podcast rank well on iTunes so others can find and enjoy the show as well. You can also find out more about me, how my real estate indie brokerage and our unconventional approach can help you with your Seattle and East Side real estate needs, and other projects I'm working on by visiting seatown.com. That's sea-town.com. Thanks for listening. Today's intro and outro music is courtesy of the Fascination Movement. You can find their albums in the iTunes Store. The Seatown podcast creator and host is Christian Harris. You can listen to more episodes and find all our show notes on our website at seatownpodcast.com. That's sea-townpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in a week for our next episode. This has been a Seatown Media production.